Hello, it's Paul and it's
Megan.
And due to scheduling issues, we're not in our normal location. We're not behind door 4 today. We are somewhere else, mystery location. Never mind that. We're here to have our ESPC show as normal.
Yes, so just as a bit of forewarning, we anticipate there's going to be some background noise in this episode, so please bear with us. But it's got lots of useful information about the Midlothian property market.
It certainly has, yeah. We're going to talk about the marketplace, what's actually in Midlothian, what are the places that are in Midlothian, and also facilities, amenities, hidden gems, and maybe what the market's going to do in the next 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, here's the episode.
So here we go. We're going to talk about Midlothian. So, ladies, if you'd like to introduce yourself, we've got Amy and Lisa, but tell us a little bit more about your good selves first.
Thanks, Paul. I'm Amy Howard, a property consultant at Neilsons Solicitors and Estate Agents. We have a Midlothian office in Bonnyrigg.
I am Lisa Connolly. I'm the head of estate agency for McDougall McQueen. We're a Midlothian founded firm, so we have got 6 offices across Midlothian, so ranging from 2 in Dalkeith High Street, obviously greedy, and we've got Pennycook, we've got some on the borders of the city, so yeah.
Okay, and Midlothian born and bred.
And Midlothian born and bred, yeah.
Maybe that's a good place to start then, actually, because we do band around East Lothian,
Yeah.
Midlothian.
Yeah.
Maybe give us some of the key locations that are in Midlothian.
Well, the vast swathe of Midlothian is just south of the Edinburgh City bypass. If you kind of imagine that big chunk that runs from the bottom of the bypass down to the top of the Scottish borders. So beautiful, beautiful countryside, rolling hills.
Lots of green spaces.
Lots of charming villages and towns. We then just broach the bypass a little bit in towards Edinburgh with Dander Hall and Shaw Fair, both really exciting areas, lots of new build development potential there. But it's a fascinating county. It's got something for everyone.
Yeah, old and new. Lots of as you say, beauty spots and lots of amenities as well.
Lots of amenities. So you're just so well placed for everything. So you've got access to the coast. You've all the towns, well, the bigger towns certainly. So your Dalkeith, your Bonnyrigg, your Lonehead, Pennycook, they've all got really good provisions for like shopping.
Yeah.
I think there's about 30 primary schools.
Yes, we read with interest, and 7 secondary schools.
So
somebody said we needed more, but we've got 7
yes,
along.
So a big mix, and as Amy said, perfectly balanced with the bigger communities like Dalkeith and stuff, and then you've got the little hamlets. You've got the likes of Temple. You've got what do you call Middleton
as well.
But what's Durton?
Durton,
just on the outside.
Yeah.
Pathhead is really bonny,
yeah.
and importantly as well, you've got
Great little bakers in Pathhead.
there is a brilliant bakers in Pathhead, and the
I'm just
Foresters
saying.
pub is excellent as well.
Yes.
So I hear.
So
And
yeah,
you've
it's a
got
real
the
mix.
train line, which is massive.
And I think we've
Yeah.
seen, we're going to get on to talk about the market in a moment, but what is clear, some of these areas are still expanding on. There's a lot of new build going
Loads,
on.
yeah.
Absolutely.
You go to some of the locations like Roswell and it just keeps on expanding, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Roswell and Bonnyrigg actually touching Roslyn.
Yeah.
That eventually it will be
all one.
very hard to
Yeah.
define. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I think
it's
you're
the
right.
same. Newton Grange backs into Bonnyrigg. It's great though. We love to see like the development in these areas.
Definitely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and
We
the
need it.
evolution of these areas as well, from being mining communities to having
the
the Roslin
shift.
Institute,
Yeah, that's the shift,
groundbreaking
isn't it?
science.
Yeah.
It really puts Midlothian
really
on
have
the global
transformed
map
this place.
as well.
I'd
It
agree with
really-
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And
definitely.
it's nice that these places have got their own little local amenities as well, maybe like
do.
a doctors or a surgery or these things are there, which
and
is
loads of
good.
independent little retailers as
Yeah.
well. Loads.
Yeah.
Roslyn has got a couple of really good pubs. Newton Grange has got a great bakers. So
The big advantage of being surrounded by that beautiful rolling countryside and farmland, you could get all of the ingredients you needed to make a kind of classic Sunday roast from within 30 minutes of your door.
Yeah.
It's really for people that want to shop local, live local, all of that is very much there in Midlothian.
Yeah. We could stop right there because this has been a really good show so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've convinced people that they should move to Midlothian, but how has the market been? I mean, we're recording this just for context at the end of October, beginning of November. How is the property market currently in the region?
strong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely been a rebalance of the kind of numbers that you're achieving offers over home report.
Yeah, we've got the premium at 101.1 now. It's been higher last year, definitely.
It was higher last year, but there's more volume this year.
Yep.
So that tells us that, the
More
market
choice.
is moving and people are moving in, and most probably they're staying within that area as well. So, really good market. Things are taking a couple of days longer. What's the median days? Is
27 days.
Yeah, 27. I think last year was it 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few days longer, but overall, really good
No
market.
complaints.
Yeah,
we've,
really good.
We've had an 11% increase on average selling prices in Midlothian in 2024.
Yeah.
So whilst properties might not be commanding a huge premium over home report values have caught up with,
Yes.
with
Yes, they
sort of
have.
market
Yeah.
activity. So,
Exactly.
it's a good balanced market for buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
There's really strong demand.
Yeah.
There's lots of options. And there's, 27 days. I think we take a couple of days off that, but it's a really
Still brisk, isn't it?
it's a
Yeah.
brisk market when you compare it to sort of UK averages of 60 to 100 days.
Absolutely. Says enough,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Have it done
But
within a
again,
month.
there's still that sort of shortage of, there's still a huge demand, lack of supply. It's the thing.
Definitely.
It's improved, as you say. Things have been balanced, but
Yeah,
we still.
and
have
I
that.
feel like we're in much more of an organic market now. So we're getting the first time buyers back in.
Yeah.
They were buying the 1 and 2 beds. We're selling these. They're moving up the 3-bed semis and then up the 4-bed detached.
Yeah.
Which actually is exactly the kind of market we
That's
want.
a fully
'cause
functioning
it's
market,
totally,
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
stable and steady. We're not reliant on, a huge boom from investors or what have you. So, I feel like it feels like a more organic evolve in the market.
Agreed.
And where are the kind of hotspots just now? Where are we seeing the most activity happening?
Bonnyrigg, like Boomtown Bonnyrigg, seems to be,
And the tram isn't even going there. That's the weird
Absolutely,
reason.
seems to be
Yes.
hugely popular, particularly with that first-time buyer market.
Why do you think
as
that
Lisa
is?
says, is enabling movement within the
Yeah.
rest of the market. There's lots of big advantages to it. You've got a good sense of community. You've got good links back into Edinburgh. But provision of amenities, lifestyle, commuter links, availability of different property styles is a huge one for that as
good
well.
choice there. Yeah.
And affordability,
Yes.
massive, Bonnyrigg, likes the Bonnyrigg, offers a great balance. It's well regarded. There's nowhere in Bonnyrigg that's really not known as a nice place to live. So,
But I mean, if you want that Georgian splendour,
Yeah.
Midlothian's got it in
Oh, yeah,
spades.
S-Bank, and you've got Golf Course Road,
Lanswade,
Blooming Out,
You've
definitely.
got some really stunning properties
Yeah.
with, a lot more garden than you would get
Absolutely,
in the new
yeah.
town.
And
for
a lot
sure.
more affordable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
No charges
We're
for
seeing
parking.
some really good returns everywhere, honestly. So, obviously, the Tweed Bank rail link,
Yes.
everything dotted along there. So, Gorebridge, Newton Grange, S-Bank, onward and onward. All of these areas are absolute hotspots.
Yeah.
If you can get to the city within under 30 minutes, then that's such a
That's the measure,
a
isn't it? Really?
lovely, it's a really nice incentive for people to come out the city.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the surrounding little nooks and crannies that sit amongst these places as well, we've seen a really good increase. I think we're 14.8%. Based on our difference between this year and last when it comes to asking prices. So the same, even though they're not going the huge amounts over home report, our asking prices are up almost 15%. So it's all rebalanced a bit over that 2022 is really strong market.
And good
Everything's
news if you're
levelled
getting
off.
a mortgage, isn't it? Because, we're talking about the valuation here rather
Totally.
than the premium. So
Yeah.
so that's good. We mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of new build.
Yeah.
That can change markets. It can have influences on prices.
Yeah.
People that have bought 2 years ago that then sell. How are you finding that market? Is that a slightly trickier market, or is
But a
that still
second-hand new build,
Yes.
essentially. I mean, yes, that particularly in
If they're still
areas where
building,
there's still a lot
yeah.
of building and
Or if they're
development
still on
ongoing,
site,
if
yeah.
they're still on site
Yeah.
as well, most people are going to opt for the incentives that a developer can throw at them with, a chunk of land and buildings transaction tax paid, or they can choose exactly their own flooring, tiling, fixtures, finishes, etc., etc. And that can be quite tricky because you do pay a premium to secure a new build property compared to what you would buy second hand in the local market. But we've had quite a few that have changed hands, and buyers have really appreciated the fact that somebody else has been through all of the snagging. Somebody else has sorted out the garden so they can, move in and chuck their kids outside to play. They're not, having to think about turf and slabs and whatever else it might be. So there's something for everyone again.
And it's
I think it comes down to the valuation as well. Like, our valuer having a real honest, transparent conversation with that potential seller.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of selling, you're 2 years in and the builder is still on site, the builder, like Amy said, the builder is offering, all these incentives and pick your own effectively, then there needs to be a realism from the seller.
You've got to stand in the shoes as a buyer at that
Of
point.
course.
Yeah, as painful as that is for a seller, you've got to think, well, what would I do?
Of course. And I think it's important, as long as our valuers and our teams are having those conversations from the outset with the seller, I think the result ends well.
A valuer from a good reputable firm is turning up with comparable sales evidence, the evidence of why they're valuing your property the way that they are, what the other things are selling for, the reality of, the builder's priced this house at 350,000, but we know there's 25 grand of incentives being chucked in, so actually that house is really only 325, and has done their homework and their research to explain all of that to you. And most sellers are actually interested in moving house. They want to get to a point where they're moving, and it's what does it take to get them there, and that's what we'll advise them on. Not
and it swings and roundabouts.
Not
isn't it?
sit here with your house on the market for sale for 6 months because it's been overpitched.
Okay.
So I remember, Paul, about 18 months ago we did our ESPC live event, and we asked the firms who were on that where they would go for investment, and we had a TikTok clip that went out of one of the firms saying that Gorebridge was the place to invest, which
Was
got
it
a lot
Craig?
of... It was Craig.
It was Craig, yeah.
And
we got some comments on that.
we got a
didn't
lot of comments of people in disbelief. So I wanted to see where are the places for investment in the area.
I mean, obviously, because Craig is part of my firm, it's probably, it's not even a defence, but he is still absolutely right.
Oh, you absolutely believed it. It wasn't.
You can get on the property market in Gorebridge for circa £100,000.
Wow.
If you're investing, even one beds at the moment are 750, 800 in that area. So look at the return on that. It's really, really strong.
And the train station at Gorebridge is a huge factor for
totally.
that.
Yeah.
So he was spot on.
He was spot on.
And it wasn't you who left the comments, no?
No, it wasn't. No, but note for next time, it might be me. But along with that, you'll find really well priced property in the likes of Mayfield, Dalkeith, Pennycook, and you've not got the train line, but you're so close to the bypass in Pennycook. You've got straight in, Pentlands, so all of those areas. Being honest, there's no a bad area in Midlothian to invest in.
Yeah.
There isn't.
When you see the ripple effect coming out from Edinburgh as well, and sort of population expansion projections for Edinburgh as a city, the Registers of Scotland recently released their projected population expansion for the whole of Scotland, and that is really focused on Edinburgh and the Lothians for the majority of it is here. Scotland's industry and tech and banking, those things are here on the east coast. So you can see with Edinburgh being a geographically small city that the ripple effect out from there of property prices, places to live. There's some really serious investing to be done in Midlothian, particularly when you pick up sort of like for like properties, inside the bypass and out.
Yeah. And interestingly, I live in Newton Grange, right, which is again next to the train line. A couple of Sundays ago, I met my friend for lunch in town, and she lives in Meadowbank. And guess who was in there quicker?
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, because she was bussing it from Meadowbank. I just hopped on the train. I was in George Street in 22 minutes, something like that.
I think we reached that point when we're probably going to ask you to maybe talk about the future now.
Okay.
I mean, Amy, you've already spoken about the shift in demographic and what we might see, but what's 2025 hold for the market in Midlothian?
I think we're sitting here on budget day, waiting to hear what's going to be said. Next week, we're going to have an announcement from the Bank of England about the base rate, what impact that will have on mortgage lending. Those things are both huge for the property market, for investment generally, and where that might take us.
We're doing pretty much okay if nothing changes.
So assuming that those things keep things stable, go our way. I think we're heading into quite an interesting year. I think we'll start to see significant campaigning in the run-up towards a Scottish election in 2026 start next year. And we tend to find that in the run-up to elections, property markets stay fairly stable. There's no expected big boom in prices. There's no particular drop to them given the popularity of the area and the demand outstripping supply. But I think we should have another year of quite good balance to the market. I think if we can continue with this level of supply and demand that we've had, that sort of gentle increase that's been creating a calmer market than perhaps the one that we had in the post-pandemic boom. Then it works very well for everybody. And I think Midlothian's got a big role to play within that, particularly with the ongoing development and investment there. It is almost guaranteed that house building targets will be fundamental to the campaign trail. And, I think if you look at Midlothian, there is space to build.
Yes.
So that's, that's going to be important for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I echo exactly what you're saying, Amy.
Sorry.
Same. Really, for us, we are projecting more of the same for this year. Obviously, today dependent. That might, obviously, we're anticipating with the proposed changes that we may have today, the main thing that might be affected is investors looking to move forward with more property purchases. But getting back to that whole organic market thing, really, that's where our market's been this year.
The gap can be filled by first-time buyers.
So that's what we hope for. And even it would be great if we could see the likes of Link Housing releasing some more link funding for lift funding. Link homes for lift funding. If we could see them release more of that, that would be great. Again, just keeping feeding the market through.
I think the good thing about Midlothian compared to Edinburgh as well is you've got a much less transient population. Within Edinburgh, we've got tourism, we've got students, we've got we've got that turnover of people living here. Whereas people look to put down roots in Midlothian, it gives you that lovely sense of community in Midlothian. Everybody's behind the rosy posy with the football, and and there's all of that going for it. But it does create a calmer marketplace than perhaps that which we see
frenzy
just the other side of the bypass.
It's amazing, isn't it, what a difference like 2 or 3 miles can make. But you're quite right. But election next year. Housing Minister, you're still welcome to come on the show. We have asked you. But it'd be good to get his take, because you're right. I think like a shared equity scheme, that sort of thing, could make a big difference. Even to those poor first-time buyers that just can't quite get there.
I know, and but now is the time, isn't it?
This is the window, really.
10-15% over. You're not having to source that extra 10-20,000. It's so close.
And rates are going one way, we think, and it's not all. So there is a great opportunity. And again, we just urge any first-time buyer, don't write yourself off. Go and talk to an expert.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's what you'd normally say, mate.
But I mean, there's renters' mortgages available to them as well. There's
100%.
If they're not eligible for a government-backed scheme, there's other ways of getting onto the property ladder. That they really need to come speak to a solicitor estate and pop into the ESPC.
All roads lead to ESPC
Absolutely. Well, that was everything we had planned to ask you. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Really good to see you both.
It's been great.
See you in Dalkeith Park.
Yes. I don't just hang around there.
Maybe.